Matt, I just heard you there with Sky Sports. You called that an ugly win, but one that felt good nonetheless.
Yeah, it was time for an ugly win, I think. Reminding me a bit of the Tranmere game. But getting ahead is so important. And once you're ahead, it's easier to stay ahead. And the team's got to do something different to break you down. It was pretty one-dimensional in terms of the way both teams played today. But that's where we are in terms of our home game. So totally different game to Tuesday night in terms of the Oldham game, but a much better outcome for ourselves.
You mentioned it there, the Oldham game where we created so much and lost today. Didn't create as much, but we got 3 points.
Yeah, but you just got to get ahead. Got to get ahead. When you have a moment, MJ's just been caught up in a mess in the middle of that pitch all game, and he's had one moment and he's took it. So I'm so pleased if it fell to MJ because he's our man at the moment. But the rest of the performance was just built on a bit of grit and determination. And a stance against Salford today. Look, we had 6 academy products in that starting lineup. We were young, we got a teenage goalkeeper, and we're up against the biggest budget and the biggest team in the league. But we've matched them today. Certainly not a spectacle in terms of the ones we've played for the eye follow, so I won't apologise for that because we needed 3 points.
I think we always knew it was going to be a tight game. I mean, Salford matches usually are. It was just, the goal. It was scrappy, but great work from MJ.
It was, but let's be honest, they had a bit of quality to start the game. Certainly for that first 15 or 20 minutes, they hit the crossbar, and the ball was bouncing around in dangerous areas. From that point on, there was very few clear-cut chances. And thankfully it's fallen to MJ, but he's in the right place at the right time, which he's done consistently this season. But we've got to find ways to win games of football. We can't always play attractive football and create a lot of chances and not win games of football. That's a really pleasing factor in relation today. But like I say, I always talk about what should be fed back to either the fans or the public, and that's the amount of academy products in that starting lineup today.
Second half, we faced a bit of an onslaught, but defensively superb.
Bodies on the line. We made it obvious in terms of who was going to try and compete for that first ball. Alex, Rory, Josh Key, Lewis Page, whoever it was, it makes it obvious for next bit in terms of that. It was very much the day for first contacts and second ball. If we could have took some sting out of the opposition in terms of keeping the ball high up the pitch, we didn't quite have it in our legs. But that's been a hell of a week, not just physically, but let's be honest, emotionally as well. When you lose 3 games on the bounce and you've got a young group, it takes its toll. And at times they looked a little bit exhausted and a little bit drained today. I'm so pleased they got through it.
I'm sure some fans were probably surprised not to see Ryan Bowman on the starting lineup, but Ben Seymour.
Ryan just needed a break. Look, I asked for so much from Ryan, and to ask him to keep him doing it every minute of every single game is a big ask from my part. And we need to be reliable on other players. And Ben Seymour's been chomping at the bit. He's been a bit unlucky to lose his place after he scored when Ryan was suspended. So that little break and little release will do Ryan a whole world of good. And Ben led the line pretty well. Just as the game went on, we needed a bit more physicality and a bit more legs, and then probably a bit more of a specimen to put himself about, and Ryan came on and did that.
It's always easier to ask you this question after a win. Stonewall penalty end of the first half? Looked like it to me.
Well, the ironic thing is the 4th officials there saying it's definitely not a penalty. I wish he'd been refereeing the game against Tranmere last week, because there's no different. Let's be honest, if it's hit a hand, even worse that the Tranmere one came off a thigh before a hand, that one hit directly on a hand. So for him to say that, I just reminded him of what happened last week, because it's easy to say it's definitely not a penalty when it got given against us last week, but that's football.